Junior high.
Good, you gonna be there Thursday?
And then Saturday. You're not recording it.
Yeah, I made sure I came back in town. Last year I was 6 calls out of town.
Okay.
It's my mom's birthday all
Happy.
so,
Yeah, familiar with that. I've lived in, I've lived all over, but I lived in Cincinnati for 3 years, and then from there to Michigan. So that was just a little bit more kind of east of. But once you get down into,
working on your side of the world.
I've worked with Coca-Cola, so software territory went into like.
Yeah, it's more
software and stuff.
Parts not all in Indianapolis.
When it started, it
but
started
kind of
residential,
parts that are
and when I
close to
started doing
Cincinnati.
research,
And then there's another group like that.
So what did we got? This what is this camera looking at? Oh, that's a microphone.
Yeah.
Actually, at that time,
the house that they built.
kind of in a.
Hey Brad, you watching?
Why they converted it.
Have you turned it on?
Where's he at? Hawaii.
No, Austin.
He's in Austin.
Each required. Who has an
What I
iPhone?
do is I do actually.
How do I make this quiet during the meeting? All right, thank you.
Put them to.
Should we tell me something good?
Put their own salespeople.
Wait.
For amount.
Did you do it or?
So I did all food service.
did it?
So, and then we go to like McDonald's.
So it's a different.
I got an arthritis.
But she's going next week.
Yeah, the 22nd.
Well, if,
To work?
Yeah, the 22nd.
rock.
They originally started.
So we need to
See right now.
and that'd be you.
You left it.
I got business to do.
All right, Peeps.
Hello, Tony. Hey, how are you? So glad you're here. Thank you.
Starting early?
We are. We're rocking. We're starting on time. Okay, who knows who sings the song? Anybody? Nobody else? Okay. Bet.
Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan. All right. Does everybody knows that we have food back there? So everybody's been fed.
All right. All right. What's the punchline of this song?
I could say something.
I mean, what's the main thing?
Tell me something good.
Tell me something good.
I went there in my mind. Yeah, I could have. So,
Should that be a biker one-liner?
we are going to start the meeting with
With good news.
some good news. Tell me who's got something good to share. It could be about your business, your life, your relationships, whatever. Come on.
I'll
Jake.
start flag closing yesterday.
Turn it down just a tad.
Sorry, up to Christmas.
Was your wife in the group? Right?
Fun.
Yeah.
Had closed real smooth closing
Yes.
yesterday.
Okay, we're listening to
Stephanie
Jay.
here in the
Jake's got.
office. Anybody wants $1 million? You know, we're.
That is
I had
actually.
a nice closing. Yeah.
Nice
Nice
closing yesterday.
I know there's all kinds of
All
positive
All right, good
energy out there. I'm looking
news.
for
Good
something
things that have
else.
happened, and it
Marty,
doesn't have
go
to be
for it.
business. Marty.
My oldest is graduating Saturday from college.
Hallelujah!
Amen. That's
From where?
Ohio University.
Oh, great.
Cool.
Yeah.
And moving home?
Not really.
He moved, he didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Ari just got a raise.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
More good news.
Scotty, some good news from the commercial world? And Charlie?
Business is good.
Good?
Got no
Life is
complaints.
good, huh?
Things are chugging along pretty darn good right now.
Who else is
All
got
right,
something?
Louie and Hedda.
My oldest niece had her first baby.
Woo! That remind.
Yep.
Awesome. And speaking of babies, Felicia Leva Adams has a grandbaby. She was born. I mean, he. Excuse me, a boy. Don't know the name yet. Born at
4:11 this morning.
This morning, yes,
Wow.
over in California in LA. She's in Paris, so
Oh,
she was texting us this morning.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
So all we know, I mean,
tomorrow.
mother and father. Yeah, it depends on with the perspective. So anyway, we're very excited. She's excited. All
Keep
right.
it rolling.
Okay.
Anything else?
Any other good news?
Any other good news?
Anybody wants to share?
I've got some
some
houses to sell.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
That's good.
Good news.
Listings are good.
That's right. Businesses.
We're going to toggle from tell me something good to tell me something funny. Has anybody got anything funny to share? And I'll kick it off here. So
Okay.
we have a listing that we're getting it's here in Dunwoody. The daughter is managing the whole clean out of the house, estate sale, staging, etc. And when it's empty, it's going to be a little dark. So one of the things we talked to her about on the front end is you need to get some kind of lighting in here. We determined that floor lamps was a good idea. So she went out on Amazon and ordered like 6 or 7 floor lamps. And then she moved forward and had her estate sale, but she forgot to tell the estate sale people not to sell.
They sold them.
They sold the floor lamps.
Good deal.
So I told her, you need to go back and negotiate the commission on those,
Yeah.
the 30% that they charge.
Yeah.
So who's got a funny story? Anything
Any
funny
other
happened
funny-
to you? Anything in real estate?
I got one.
Yeah, let's
I'm
hear it.
just popping today. Yesterday, I've had this client, and she's a cat lover. Well, she moved out about 3 months ago, but I kept on seeing these trays outside for cat food. And I said, I keep on moving them. Finally, I find out, that it was a previous owner. He just loved cats, and there was a stray cat in the area, big stray cat. And I said, Heidi, you don't want to do that, because I said, cats, dogs, things like that, you track, they're going to always be here, and not everybody's a cat lover. I'm sorry about that. And, but I'd still, I'd see one next week, I'd see another tray out there, or milk or whatever. And finally, we had the closing yesterday. Of all people to have bought this house was a veterinarian who loves cats. So that was the thing. So you can always sometimes be wrong in our judgment. I had to apologize for that one.
That's great. That's great.
And a veterinarian that likes cats. too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, has anybody else got it? Come on, this business we work in is hilarious. Our clients are funny.
Funny
Ernie's
stories
got something.
at the
I
closing
know
table.
Ernie's got
and
something
in
funny
the
to share.
section.
Ernie,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a good one for you.
All right, so during the course of the team meeting, if a funny little ditty or scenario or story comes to mind, raise your hand, we'll break in, we'll cover it.
Absolutely. Tis the season to be jolly. So
Nancy.
we're
Where are the
for
drinks?
jolly. Nancy.
A couple months ago, I walked in, we were walking houses, and this one particular house, for some reason, I'm thinking it was empty. And they had no furniture, they had a lot of toys. We walked up and we're talking and going back and forth. And we walked up to the bedroom, and the woman is looking at herself in the mirror, and she's primping. And I look down, and there's a guy sound asleep in his bed. And I turned and I said, I was like, let's leave. And she looked down and she started laughing. The two of us were like pushing each other out of the way. Down the stairs.
There's the video camera.
The guy never woke up. The guy never woke up.
Maybe he was passed out and not just asleep.
I don't know.
All right.
Anybody else? All right, be thinking about it. I want to hear some funny stories here.
Exactly.
Got the whole meeting to come up with one. I got another one I might share with you later.
Okay.
But in the meantime, we're going to talk about the introduction of new agents. And Anna,
Well, Anna's not here yet.
She's not here yet.
Right.
she
So we'll
She'll be
introduce her
right
when
here.
she comes.
okay.
Yes. She's
All right.
gonna be
We're
in
going to all give a big warm welcome to Anna when she gets
Ana
here.
Barrientos, but we have more. Tony Winters, who is a
Tony Wilson.
Wilson, hello. I think I know somebody named Tony Winters. Tony Wilson joined us just yesterday, yay! And got a license. And she's went to high school with Renee Jemison, so they go way back. So she's not quite as crazy, but and Renee will be here shortly. Oh goodness. Season, did we introduce you, Season Duncan? Okay, good. Now, Michelle Pleasant, stand up and take a bow.
And
Michelle Pleasant. Now, Michelle was with Brad at Peachtree Road years ago. Done some different things. Watch out. It's gonna be great.
different.
She's, fully cranked up.
And Kevin's
Yeah, she
here.
went 10 years with
Kevin.
Brad.
11, I started at Peachtree Road 15 years ago with Brad. And so I was with him up until I moved to Arizona in 2010.
Ah.
So I've been
Yep.
in the business 15 years.
More
Licensed
Brad
here,
stories.
Arizona, Florida, and Alabama.
Wow.
Welcome home.
She
Yeah.
is, she's serious. She's gonna do some business. Think anybody else knew that I said?
Okay.
Bye,
Can
Kevin.
somebody tell me what is happening on Thursday?
This
Ah.
Wild party.
Party. Party.
Yeah,
Christmas party, holiday party.
holiday
Where
party.
more stories will be created.
It's a good
Who's been to one of the Rawls Christmas parties at their house before? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
It's a good time. A lot of
Food, drink.
a lot of great food.
Drink.
They
I mean,
cater it.
it's whole dinner. That is the caterer. I mean, buffet around her dining room.
I heard we might even have a guest bartender that comes, shows up. I'm not positive, but it's worth
Margarita.
coming. So it's a good time. It's a big effort. So it's real close by. It's just at Jean Rawls' house. She's our operating principal, and she lives over by Northside Hospital off of Johnson's Ferry in the bluffs of Nancy Creek. So it's really like 10, 15 minutes from here tops.
Right, and
Easy to get into.
one of my favorite parts are the golf carts.
Yeah.
So it's a tight neighborhood. I guess you could say cluster homes. So parking near her house, you're all over, but they have golf carts with people picking you up at your car, bring you to the front door, and when it's time to go home, they'll take you back to your car.
And I think it's
So-
supposed to be clear, but they have umbrellas too. So don't let any weather stop you. It'll be a great party. Hope to see everybody
Bring-
there.
Bring your
DJs.
guests. Yeah. Now, I think everybody should have gotten a paperless post about it, and the planners of the party really appreciate when people RSVP.
Yep. So they can make
Just saying.
proper food prep. So,
Exactly.
all right.
It's a courtesy.
Yes. I think we bring up Pete and we'll talk a little tech tip.
Okay.
In the season to be jolly.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, does that imply that?
Give a joke. You have to give a joke.
Yeah, you're a jolly kind of dude.
You're still Keith.
Do your thing.
And the tech step was here.
Well, so let's kind of do it in the season to be jolly here. In Command, we haven't talked about it a whole lot because it's still evolving. But within Command, you see this little gizmo down here? It
Up
says
there.
Designs.
Yeah.
Actually, let me do this for the folks at home. All right. It says Designs. Well, this is, a lot of people are familiar with Canva, right? Canva is a great piece of software. So what Command is trying to do is create a Canva also, and it's getting better. And so it is usable right now. You need to curl up with it and spend some time with it. But what I thought we'd do today is, here's a way to maybe design a Christmas card or an Instagram post or a Facebook post using Command because the price is right? So over here in Designs, when you click on Designs, it brings up, well, these are my templates because I've been screwing around with it. But if you wanted to
You've been cutting
create
mine up,
one, you see this little guy in the bottom, the plus sign?
Where is it?
Got that?
Oh, it's here.
Down here in the bottom right, there's a plus sign, and you notice where you can create an email template, a landing page, social print, or agent site. Agent site is code for a web page, right? So social is generally what we would do. Now, when you click on social, it comes up and says, all right, I want to create a new social design, and I create a design. Well, it says LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Site Heroes. The only difference between any of these is the size.
And the
Because it-
shape.
Yeah, or the size or the shape, either one, right? So, as most of you know, in Instagram, what is the shape of the picture that you create?
Square.
Square. So if you were to put that on LinkedIn, it would look weird, right? So that's the only difference between all of these is when you looked at LinkedIn, it's rectangle. Instagram Stories is tall. Okay? Twitter is this size. That's the only difference between all of these. So the reality is you can grab any one of these you want, delete all the stuff off of it, and create your own.
And it's done for it, like it's amazing.
So they're templates.
They're templates. That's all they are, is templates. That's exactly right. And one of the things that we have, and we'll send it to you via email, is if you simply go out and you Google image size for social media, you'll find there's a blog post that HubSpot has written that tells you the image size for every single picture in every single social media you would ever want.
We're gonna email you that link.
Can you use one of these as an email? I mean, I see LinkedIn.
When you go back.
Theoretically, you can. Okay, that's a whole different subject. We probably don't have time for a tip, but email is a whole different because with email you got pictures and columns and text and all that kind of stuff. This is simply how you create a picture so that you could post it on Facebook or something like that, right? So. What I have done is I have simply said, all right, well, here's one right here. So I clicked on it, and it says Merry Christmas, and what am I going to do with it? Well, I want to, you see this guy right here, I'm going to kind of maybe take him right here, but if I click on logos over here, and I want to maybe put this one, this is highlighted, I click this to replace it, and I just replace that logo. Now this would look weird, but it does the same thing. If I replace this, there's the Keller Williams Atlanta Perimeter logo, right? Or if I just wanted to get rid of it altogether, I hit delete, right? Now I'm going to take this, move it up here, take this guy, move him up here. I'll take this guy, move him up here. We'll take this guy.
Yeah,
love
that.
Right in the tree.
All right.
High needles coming out of his present.
Right?
So cool.
Right? So you can create anything you want to. Makes sense? And it's fairly easy to do this sort of thing. What about if I were to come over, let's see, here and create this one?
I'm confused.
The text.
All it is a picture for Facebook, and it's simply a text message that says, Hank sent a text message to me. It says, all I want for Christmas is a big new house. I sent a text message back that says, ho, 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 man, have I got you covered. Right? Hank sends it back, let's start planning. Pete, I'm in the sleigh on your roof now. Boom, post it to Facebook.
That's very fun.
I just created that screwing around because I figured I needed to do something to keep you guys away. Right? All this, I took the template that you just saw a minute ago, and I put more stuff on top of it. It's kind of like a fruit cake, right? I just put a bunch of stuff in it, it becomes a cake. So that's all I'm going to show you is with the design module within Command, you can create anything you want to, any size you want to use anywhere you want to. Does that make sense? Any questions?
So then you save it in your library.
Then you can save it, right? So right here, see, you probably can't see this, but right here, you can save it as a template. I just rename it to say 04 or something like that, right? Then I can download it to use it anywhere I want to, and then when I click done, I'm done. Now, when I come back into Command in the future, if I wanted to use this as a template again, I can just use it all over again. And if I say, well, I don't like this guy's picture right here, I delete him out. And that's last words. Or put him somewhere else.
Just put your little head in the little center, like sticking out of the tree.
Yeah, I can make myself a ornament. So here's a Peter ornament. Right.
Put a little ribbon on.
I've been in the woods before. So anyway, that's it for today. It's a tool now. It's you gotta spend at least an hour with it, pulling the hair out, trying to figure out. But once the light comes on, then you'll be using this for the Groundhog Days in February, right? I don't know what you do with Groundhog Day, but you could use the same tool for anything going forward. You just got to learn to use it to start.
And once you have all your stuff, like the logos in there, then they're in there, so you don't have to like recreate that every time.
That's correct.
So are the Keller Williams, are our logos in there, like Keller Williams perimeters, and we have to put them in there?
No, but if you go to My KW,
Right.
right, and you go to technology, there's a
Technology.
tab, and you got all, you've downloaded them 40,000 times. You got them all over your computer. You just got to find them.
And I can show you where to find it.
Okay.
This is the blog post I was telling you about right here. So you can either write it all down right now, or we can email it to you. But notice that it social media image sizes. Here's everything you ever want to know about Facebook, Twitter, and all the rest of them. Now, if we look at Facebook, for example, Facebook has many different. You have a cover image, you have a profile image. You got a bunch of different image sizes within Facebook. So it's not just one Facebook is the size for everything. Okay? So this is a great article that tells you every image size for anything that you'd ever want to use. Right? Questions? That's all I got.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Pete. Thank you, Pete.
Any new jokes?
Any new jokes?
Yeah.
Any new funny
Funny
stories?
stories.
Funny stories. Real estate stories. Bob Casella, you have any good funny real estate stories?
Yeah, I do. I'm not sharing today, though.
I'll tell you one. So this was years ago. I was previewing a house with my partner, Kathy, my lovely wife. And it was a vacant house up in Johns Creek. Back then it wasn't even Johns Creek. I think it was just Alpharetta. And had to go up steps to get to the front door. There was a lockbox. And the front steps, you know, the top, it was almost like a deck configuration that was covered. So I was open the lockbox. I fumbled the key. In slow motion, I see it dropping, hitting the deck boards. Boom, falls through the deck down below. And guess what? That porch is wrapped in lattice. So I'm sitting there pulling the lattice away to try to get in. I'm like, Kath, can you help me out here? I'm going to scoot in here. Hold this back. Well, as soon as I do that, I get like part way in, and she lets it go, and it smacks me on the... And now I'm stuck inside this caged lattice. There's like a bajillion leaves down there. I'm like, it's dark. I'm feeling through looking for a key.
Did you find it?
I finally found the key.
How many keys were down there?
I had to, and I crawled my way out of there, and Kathy helped me get out, and we were able to preview the house.
She did it on purpose.
Gosh. That is a funny one.
There are some people too, I've read about it too, that went out, like, you know, there's a deck that doesn't have any stairs, and they go outside and they're like talking to their clients, and the door shuts. Well, yeah, kid closes the door, and then they're locked outside on an elevated deck like 20 feet up. You know?
I've done this.
I've done that.
All right, I'll give you one since you asked. I remember searching for investment properties with clients, and so we show up at one of them at, you know, $125,000 is the price point. We open the door, it's a vacant house, or supposedly, and there's about 30 illegals sleeping in the house. We were there about 9 a.m. And it's just kind of like, do you want to see the house or not?
Next. Yeah. Okay.
Stacy, really quick.
Okay.
One of my agents is coming over with me, and her name is Tiffany Harvey, and I wanted to introduce her. So I have about 5 people coming over with me. Yes, you do.
Welcome, Tiffany.
Thank you.
All right,
And
time for
wait.
one more story here.
I was doing an open house, and I was letting some fresh air in. So I opened both doors, and I'm letting the cross breeze go. And in comes a bird. And he lands on the stove. And then I start like, oh my gosh, I let a bird in the house. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. It flies in, and then it hits, it takes off,
hits the wall and passes out.
Oh my goodness.
So I feel like I'm Cinderella, like in a bad movie. You know, I'm like, okay, Deborah, you have to get that bird.
Now, are you with your clients at this point?
I'm by
Are
myself.
you by
I'm getting
yourself?
ready to do an open house, or maybe I'm meeting clients at the house, but I got there early. So I'm standing there, and the bird's passed out in the hall, and I have to go and pick the bird up and get it out of the house. I mean, I have to do it. You know, so I get their cake. You know, plastic cake thing.
Yeah.
And I go and I put it over the bird and I slide the plate. And
That's a resourceful agent.
Paper towel.
oh my gosh! And I got it out, and it came to life out there. Save the birds! So
You just think to.
crisis averted, but anyway, it was a little stressful.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's
I
amazing.
watched it.
Did you wash it? Yeah. And Ana Barrientos has joined us. Yay! She's new to our office. Yes. Glad you're here.
Glad you're here. Thanks for coming. All right. We'll come back if anybody has any stories after the next segment here. We can revisit that. But is what I wanted to talk. Stacy and I wanted to talk about today was contingencies and what the true meaning of contingencies is. This is like a takeoff on the true meaning of Christmas, the true meaning of contingencies. So we're talking primarily the big three. You know,
Due diligence.
Yeah.
Appraisal and finance.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
You're probably all using those on offers that you write. You're probably all seeing them on offers that you receive on your listings, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about each one, and we're looking for input from you folks. What is the true meaning of these contingencies? What does it really boil down to? What is the contingency there to protect? Your clients, but more so than that.
The lender.
No, but specifically for your clients, you're protecting their earnest
Earnest
funds.
funds. So we all kind of get confused on contingencies, but really it boils down to, in all three of those cases, earnest money that is pledged. And this is why if you're representing a seller, you want to try to maximize the amount of earnest money that they receive. If you're working with a buyer, it's always in their best interest to make that lesser if possible. But it boils down to, like on a finance contingency, a loan denial. If a loan denial occurs during that contingency, the buyer has what? Option.
The right to terminate and.
And what are you guys writing as far as number of days for your finance contingency?
21.
It depends.
Yeah, but agents I teach call the lender and ask them what they can deliver.
Right.
You should know that before you wrote the contract.
That kind of rhymes.
Even there, it isn't always bulletproof. And 21 days, 3 weeks, it's not fatal, but if you have a new listing and it goes under contract quickly and it's off the market for 3 weeks for these contingencies, and all of a sudden the buyer bails because they get a loan denial or the appraisal, coming back on the market, you're really kind of scarred as a seller, and it can be a tough recovery, right?
So to add on the contingency, we're telling the clients, hey, give me your docs. And a lot of our docs are pulling over electronically, the pay stubs and the bank statements. If we're getting those docs really early, we're sending them to the underwriter, getting the commitment letter, which means you all can make an offer with no 21-day contingency.
Right.
Which makes it a stronger offer.
Right.
Well, and it also, yesterday I was writing a contract and I realized calendar versus business. And we're coming into a season that a lot of lenders are gonna say, no, I'm not gonna touch it until after Christmas, I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna do that. So we ended up writing business days as opposed to just days.
Except as a listing agent, I would counter that.
Exactly. I mean, this month in particular with Christmas and then New Year's, you have got to consult a real calendar before you just blithely put numbers in there.
So we had a situation, and it always isn't fail-proof, that it was our listing, and the buyer was a woman who was getting a divorce. And she was getting a bunch of money from her ex-husband. Everything checked out. We talked to the lender. We got pre-approval letter, and as it turns out, we don't know exactly what happened, but she got cold feet. She decided she didn't want to buy it. And the lender, on a telephone conversation, after giving the pre-approval letters, like went on and just how qualified this buyer is and how good they are. Well, when she got the cold feet, she was still within her finance contingency period. She wanted out. And you know what she did? She got the lender to provide a denial letter. And she walked away in the 21st day, and she got all her earnest money back. So, you know, I personally think loan contingencies, if you're like have a buyer you're bringing in, you want to protect them, but this whole industry has gotten crazy, in my opinion, where you're taking properties off the market for 21 days. If a buyer is coming to buy a house, they should already have a good idea whether or not they should get a loan. It's not the norm. The norm is we do provide the 21 days. But there's just all kinds of, you know, typically everything goes well, but when it goes off the rails, it goes off the rails bad.
So, Bill, did you question that lender? Did he have a reason that she didn't qualify?
He doesn't have to give a reason. All he has to do is provide a denial letter, and it's bulletproof. I mean,
and you realize you got 7 days to get that loan denial letter. You
Right.
don't have to be with the TNR.
And she could have said that her ex-husband wasn't giving her the money
Right,
she needed.
that's true.
well, if it's part of the down payment, that technically isn't a reason to exercise
Correct.
your option on the loan contingency for default. You have to be denied based on credit and other things. Not having your down payment appear or be available is not a reason to exercise that contingency. So it all boils down to the earnest money. Same thing with appraisals. What are we seeing here? We see pretty much the 21 day. Is that what you guys are seeing in writing?
21 of HA or BA.
Right.
What are your thoughts? How do you counsel your buyers? Do you tell them to wait till after the inspection, or you get them on the appraisal early on?
After the inspection.
So
if the time frame is right, if you have to go shorter on your days in order to get the offer to work, if it's a multiple offer situation, I say, look, I'd rather you spend $500 up front if you really want this house.
Right.
Otherwise, you could be spending a whole lot more on the back if the appraisal doesn't get done in time.
Michelle?
And normally what I do is before I even make an offer, I look at the comps to make sure that it's more than likely gonna appraise. So even if we went ahead and ordered the appraisal, we should be okay. But I also look at the house to make sure that there probably aren't any major issues that we may have to be concerned with visibly.
So it sounds like doing your homework up front can prevent going off the rails.
Minimize.
Possibly.
A lot of times the lenders will order the appraisal themselves because they have their own routine. So if you want to slow them down, you have to tell them. You know, like for instance, if your buyer says, oh, this house just came on the market that I want to take a look at, sometimes you have to say, you know, hold on.
So we had a agent in our office that's newer in the business, and he came to me with a question, and that was, it was on both of the finance and appraisal contingencies. Apparently they didn't order the appraisal in enough time. They were running out of time. Due diligence was over, and the buyer's agent asked the listing agent and the seller to extend due diligence and the appraisal contingency because they needed more time from their lender and also to get the appraiser done. What's your opinion on that as from a seller standpoint, representing a seller?
No. Too bad, you jerked around your time.
I have a question, because I'm dealing with this right now.
Okay.
And after the inspection, we've come back with, and the roofer just contacted me. It's all roof problems, rodent problems, radon, and mold. So we hit them all. We extended the due diligence until this Thursday. We've extended it once already. We're not, buyers and scared just wants everything taken care of.
Right.
but everyone's getting quotes now. So do I, if I ask, I'm gonna think we have to extend the due diligence again. But then I also need to go back in and change my contingency dates for the financing and the appraisal.
Well,
Or
okay,
what do we-
they
I
are.
guess I'm asking what I do, because we've already
Okay, you're representing the seller?
buyer.
The buyer.
They're
I think
really
They should be moving forward on the appraisal. I mean,
right.
and the finance.
Because those are finance and this is.
Yeah.
Right,
but-
we already have, I mean,
Right.
the contract's been sent to the lawyer, it's been sent to the mortgage, broker, is everything?
If after all these inspections, your buyer says, "Oh, this is just too much, and the seller's not willing to remediate, and they want to terminate, you have to have protected that right. So
Right,
you've
that's
got to extend your due diligence until all those are gonna get done, seller willing. You know, seller's gotta, of course, agree.
Well, I mean, there's no other offers, it's been on the market for a while, so I
that's
think,
seller's-
So
you
you're
know, so the
probably-
seller,
Wanna
I
keep
mean,
it
and
alive.
and the only way we're gonna do it is if these major things get taken care of, otherwise I'm gonna tell them, we'll pull out, we can always come back in 2 weeks and put a new offer in.
Right.
Just for less, knowing all the problems, you know.
But it's gonna reoccur again. I mean, it sounds like some of the inspection.
Yeah,
problems
he's not-
you're
they need
fighting
to
with.
them.
Right, so
Yeah.
but I am dealing with an agent who's just not very
Responsible.
responsive, and, you know, she deals with she has a whole team that works for her, and she has 3 different people contacting me if they do contact me. If they do, that's a big.
RJ.
Okay, as far as the appraisal and the financing on any contract, that has nothing to do with the due diligence.
Right.
If you're the listing agent, you need to remember who you're protecting, and that's the seller. So if you're out of the due diligence, and the buyer's agent comes to you and says, oh, whoops, we didn't order the appraisal because we were getting all these quotes. You say, well, you can have as long as you want to do the appraisal contingency, but we're not going to change the contract. Because you had 21 days, you chose not to. In other words, it doesn't matter. You should have ordered it early.
Right.
Yeah, we've
And
ordered
I
it.
just very kindly say, you can have as long as you need, but the contingencies are not going to change.
Right. Because it
Just
isn't,
because you didn't order it.
there's
But if you
no
wanna
advantage
protect
to
your
your seller
seller-
client.
Because you're hurting your seller
Right.
if you give them more time.
Right, and it's, you know, it might be the nice thing to do to consider, but it's a
Right.
business transaction. And the way I handle it typically is I go back to the other agent, I say, you know what, we're not gonna change. You guys need to just keep moving forward here. We'll talk about events as they occur, and we'll work through them. But we're not gonna, I can't recommend in good faith to my seller to extend this, because what are you basically doing? You're just telling the buyer and the buyer's agent that, okay, we're gonna give you more time
these
to get
deadlines
out of
don't
the contract and get their what back.
Right.
So-
And obviously,
And then you've been off
if
the
the
market
appraisal
for
came in low and your seller, it's up to your seller if they want to negotiate or work through something, but you're trying not to, you know, in other words, you don't want to keep changing the contract.
Yeah,
Right.
I'd like that terminology. We're not changing the contract.
We're just
Because
staying with the
she likes,
contract.
but we're not changing
You know, we'll deal with them as they occur.
Well, I throw it back on them. I say, does this benefit your buyer? And they'll say, yes. I said, now how does it benefit myself?
Right.
And there's no answer. Okay, thank you.
That's good, Bob, that's good.
Every once in a while.
Minnie
I'm the
Mouse.
only one who wants to stick up for buyers. I work with tons of buyers, and I've had agents who have been, there's been some extreme circumstances where an appraisal was ordered on time, and then the appraiser didn't show up, or like they took it, and then they knew it was due, and I even had to call the appraiser and be like, hello, or you like, it wouldn't answer the lender's calls. There's weird stuff like that. And the agent did work with us and extend it. So I appreciated that because it really wasn't, we had ordered it in time, and, you know, it wasn't like a delay tactic or anything.
True, but it's still, from my perspective, it's a disadvantage to the seller that you're representing. The worst case scenarios is that you're gonna go back on the appraisal and ask for a lower contract price, right? And if they don't do it, they get to keep their earnest money.
Can they still ask for that though if they don't have the?
They can still ask for it, but they're not gonna get their, they can't terminate the
terminate.
contract and get their earnest money
Get their
back.
earnest money back? Okay.
Right.
Right, Michelle?
I think one helpful thing for our sellers is if we're not sure, if we think that there are gonna be some issues, to have them do a pre-list appraisal. And sometimes I'll pay for, I mean, not an appraisal, but an inspection, and sometimes I'll pay for it upfront and write in the contract, once we close, that I get that money back. So if there are things that may come up on an inspection, the seller is already gonna get those things fixed, and then add a home warranty to the property as well. And that kinda helps you with the length of the due diligence as well.
Has anybody else ever done that? Because I've heard of this, Charlotte.
No, I'm just agreeing.
And was it, yeah. I think,
you
I know,
fix the items. So, cause if the seller fixes it, they're gonna find somebody who's gonna work with, you know, their price and all that. If the buyer fixes it, they're gonna find the most expensive, and it's just, you know, but yeah, I do that sometimes.
I think Doug Alexander has done that too.
We've done that. You just have to be careful because once, you know, things come up that the seller may not know about and the agent may not know about, that may slide under the radar, now you're in a position where you need to disclose that. It's the right thing to do. So there's good and bad. Same thing with, we've done a number of pre-listing appraisals, and we weren't really happy with the number that the appraiser came back with. And I called the appraiser. I'm like, what are you thinking here? And he's like, well, I wish you would have given me some input. I'm like, well, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of what this seller was trying to achieve. They were looking for an independent opinion of value, but they were way off on more than one occasion. So even on these earnest money issues, on these contingencies, you got to look at all the ramifications of what's going on. Jim?
Back to the appraisal, I've had several listing agents on the other side when I'm representing the buyer. You ask for an extension and they don't understand the contract well enough. So they said, well, I guess we'd rather do that than terminate. They don't understand that you can't really terminate at that point. You're already past your due diligence.
Right.
And they will grant the extension. So if you're representing the buyer, like you were saying, it never hurts to ask because they might not understand.
Yeah.
This is true.
I was going to flip it to that next, and Jim's absolutely right. So if you couldn't hear what he was saying, if you're representing a buyer, and for whatever reason you're running out of time, by all means ask. It's not gonna. All they can say is no, and.
But you got to protect the earnest money. So don't just chance it.
Right.
Extend. Yes, it's more paperwork.
And
that's your job.
Yeah, and don't just pay attention when you're a listing agent to the earnest money that is being pledged and when it's coming in. It's really actually pretty important. A lot of people just glance over it, but what do y'all look for as far as minimum threshold as far as earnest money?
1%.
I'd like to see closer to 2 personally on a listing when you can get it.
Well,
and it's also a function of how far the closing is out in time too.
Especially since, I guess, was it last summer they changed the wording. And so now, I'm not that I've actually ever had to do this, but it says that the seller can only get the earnest money if there are damages from this, that the buyer walks on the contract. I've never had to have it happen, but Lynn did say if you can get more, it's always better, since the contract wording changed.
Right.
But it's hard to get more.
It's hard to get more.
You kind of have to see if it's a hot listing or not.
And it's also a function, if you're a listing agent and you're looking at offers, what would be one of the criteria that you closely examine that help you determine the amount of earnest money?
How much you're putting in?
As a listing agent,
yes.
I want it to be painful for that person to come out. And
Right.
that's the only way to say. It's kind of like, I don't want you popping out of this contract, and I don't want to hear that you got 4 contracts out there and you'll take this one, that one, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
It's like if you screw up, I want it to be painful.
What is one of the metrics, though? You're absolutely right. That's a generality. But what do you look at when you're looking at earnest money?
Closing date.
Closing date. And why is that?
Because the longer the closing date, the more money you want to have
Right.
in earnest money.
We all do that, If it's closing in a week, earnest money is less, that's one thing. If they're saying we can't close for 4 months, and all of a sudden they default, you want to make sure you get good consideration for your seller for that off-the-market time, right? All right. Any other comments on earnest money contingencies, et cetera? Scotty?
I think the bank plays a role in that too, that's in the contract, because you got some banks that can't fulfill some of these obligations. You know, if somebody puts on their B of A as their lender, or Wells Fargo as their lender, they're not gonna fulfill it, their timeline.
Well, yeah. That's why I don't want agents picking numbers without getting commitments.
Let's throw Chase in that mix too. So,
shall we invite our friend from Green Home Solution,
Yes, we should.
Carl,
Carl.
who brought wonderful
Breakfast,
sandwiches.
yes.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Very interesting conversation today.
Always.
And we play a role in that dance. And one thing you need to understand about us, that Green Home Solutions is primarily a mold remediation company. We believe in doing it with using green technology to do it. But more importantly, we understand some of that dance that you have to go through. And we understand what a due diligence period is. We understand the issues that you face as a business realtor on when you represent the buyer. Same thing, we understand what line we have to toe when you represent the seller in the transaction. And often, we are actually offering and end up having an educational conversation with buyer and seller. Because there are some people that are in denial about the issues going on in the house. And they need to be educated and showed what's going on and what the path to clearance is. And at the same time, buyers with kids moving into a new house, spending a lot of money on a piece of real estate, they want to know that that space is safe for the family and for the kids. And therefore it's very meaningful when we can engage in conversation with them and talk to them about what's going to happen. And it also gives them great comfort when we say that when the remediation is done, a third party is going to come in and provide the clearance testing. We don't do that ourselves. So again, it's transparency, it's openness, and education in a space where it's sometimes a little scary. And the media issue about mold has created, it's a four-letter word today. And it stands in your way to get to the closing table. So, what you do is take this phone number right here, put that in your phone under M for mold, or in HomeKeeper if you use HomeKeeper, and use it. There is no cost for us to come out during the due diligence period and figure out what's really going on, and providing you an easy to read document that gives you a path to clearance. Let's say that based on this contingency issue, and let's say the deal falls apart for whatever reason, and you are on the listing side, that mold in the basement is still there. And I would urge you to get in front of that issue so you don't have the same issue recur. And let's say that you have a really upscale property, they tend to stay on the market longer, don't they? It's also harder to find a qualified buyer for that $1.5 million house in Buckhead, or $2 million, whatever it is. So again, let's get in front of that and fix that so that doesn't become a stumbling block for a family with kids who may want to go to a different house because that mold issue in the basement or the crawl space. So again, I mean this sincerely. We are your partner in this. Our job is to educate, remediate, and get you to the closing table as scheduled. So please call us, and we'd like to help you.
Great.
Thank you.
And Carl, one of the things I like about Green Home is you guys tell it like it is. If sometimes they'll find out that there really isn't
right.
What the inspector identified as a mold issue is not in reality a mold issue. And so you're an advocate for the party that you represent, whether we're bringing you in as a listing, on the listing side or the buyer side.
Yeah. And we're not about that particular deal. We want to be your preferred vendor for these issues for your whole career. So again, it's not a one deal thing. We want to be there for the long haul.
Great.
Thank you.
Carl. Thanks for bringing breakfast. We're going to bring up certainty, but before we do, I just have a little handout here, and if enough don't make it around, we can email it. But these are just something I found. Thank you to Pinterest.
Yeah, right.
Tax deductions for real estate agents. Because it's not how much you make, it's how much you Right. So you want to maximize your deductions. You know, we all are 1099 employees. We're responsible for writing off all of our expenses. So caveat, I don't personally endorse any of these. You want to run them by your CPA, but they might help you in your year-end tax planning. And
Paul, you want to come up?
in
Shorelette.
The entertainment category may be inaccurate and not up to date with the tax laws. So make sure you talk to your accountant.
Call it marketing.
There's a class tomorrow, a free class at the board about tax reduction strategies.
At the Atlanta board?
Yeah.
Okay.
It starts at 9:30.
Oh, thank you.
Is it free?
Yes.
Free class. You know, the Atlanta board and GAMLS, Georgia Metro Listing Service, they've got a ton of classes.
And FMLS.
And FMLS, and a bunch of them are for credit, and they're free. So, yeah.
All right, certainty, come on up, come on up.
Good morning.
Morning.
I don't know where Randy went, but I guess he's, good morning. I was gonna last week we announced the new loan limits for conventional, which is 5, 10, 400. New loan limits for FHA, 401, 350. And then your rural counties, I think it's 331, but we don't do many rural, so. Anybody know why they raise the loan limits each year? And then property values are going up, which brings in more potential buyers for us, which is nice to have. Interest rates, I locked one the other day at 3.625 with a quarter point on it. And a quarter point's nothing. I mean, well, it's money, but you know, a lot of times when you're locking rates, there's a point on there, a point and a half to get those kind of rates. So rates are strong.
Heard today on the radio that we're not going to see another tax cut, but they're going to keep it the same. Is from the Fed.
Oh, you mean a rate cut? No, the economies, after the jobs report last week, it was 100,000 more that they predicted. They probably will not.
Yep. But to keep it stable, to not raise it too.
Yeah, it keeps it stable. So I like the rate. So I'm doing a lot of refinances right now too, cash outs. You know, renovation loan rates are 4 1/4, 4 3/8. Those are still a strong rate for a renovation loan. So, any questions?
Nope.
Thank you.
We're gonna go, thanks to top producers here today.
Yep. So this is measured not in the previous month, but year to date. All of 2019 up until now.
All right, top teams, drum roll, RJ and Jim McCarty, my sponsors. Can't resist. Tara and Gary Gaines, Deb and Michael Martino, Bill and Kathy Haas, and Eddie Levin and Sam Klein. All right, Bill, you go.
Top groups, Becky and Dave Evans group. Number 1, number 2, Nicole Ambrose group. Number 3, Ming Joe group. Number 4, Ming. Providence group. And number 5, the Alexander group.
Top commercial, Rocky Kaufman, Scott Morchauer, in our presence, Howard Garrett, J.M. Scott, and Chin Lamb.
And we go 15 deep on individuals. Dan Bangs leading. Cynthia Pierce, number 2. Michael Culver, number 3. Rob Carino, number 4. Brandon Atkins, number 5. Virginia Moran, number 6. Denise McEnany, number 7. Tamisha Graves, number 8.
Toshma Graves.
Toshma Graves. Jana Huffam, number 9. Amanda Martin, number 10. Paige Pace, 11. Susan Eschbach, 12. Becky Veal, 13. John Cassane, 14. And Jessica Schulte, number 15.
Woohoo! All right. Okay, we had, so vision boards and lift, we need to. So, Renee Jemison.
Oh, jeez. Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So the vision board class, what time?
12 to 4.
12 to 4. We're going to talk a little bit
But
about...
it's not a 4-hour class.
No.
It's
It's a drop-in.
window.
Whether you get started today or just listen to the intro about the importance of this activity, neurologically what happens from the cutting of the paper and the gluing of it to a piece of cardboard, I really would like for you to come. We're going to share our success stories about what we do and how we win by making a vision plain and clear and sharing it. So join us. We got snacks and scissors.
And glue sticks, Also, it's going to be fun.
It is fun.
Do we bring poster boards? You can, we have some. But it's perfectly fine.
If you came without it, it's not an excuse not to come. We got you. Come on.
Right.
Excellent. So everybody come to Vision Boards. It's really amazing. You put stuff down on that and it automatically, magically happens. So it's like, it's crazy.
All right.
What do we have going on next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday, who has been to this party before? It is. Oh, yeah. We call it Dirty Santa, White Elephant. It's a funny gift exchange. Bring a wrapped present, less than $20, which is hard.
It can be funny. It can be.
As you come in, everybody gets a number, and then we draw and unwrap. There's lots of stealing going on, but 3 times stolen. And it's amazing how the same person gets stuck. Kevin Probst, oh my gosh, people would steal his gifts every time. He was constantly coming back up. Scott Morchower get stolen from last year, your Dirty Santa gifts. Back up he'd come to pick another present. It's funny. The Certainty folks do an amazing specialty coffee bar for
So if
us.
you bring a gift, you get to get it drawn on. Yeah, you get a gift.
Right.
Bring a gift,
So
you get a
make
gift.
it funny. Yeah.
We've been doing this almost 20 years, and it's really is a lot of fun. We'll have breakfast served, I'm assuming. Probably. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Donuts and
And
juice in the
next
middle.
Tuesday, the 17th.
Yeah.
So it's just a season of harvest. Yes.
And then, just for those that weren't here when we started the meeting, this Thursday, Rawls Group party right around the corner. Holiday party for just our office. It's always a good time. Lots of good people, good food, good drink. Surprise bartender. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
Surprise bartender. Surprise celebrity bartender.
All right. So, yes. Do we have the culture committee wants to come and make an announcement and introduce some guests? Come on down. Okay.
Surprise bartender.
Yeah. Rashad's partner, Jason Aitchison, has done all my personal renovations and not his army of folks. Yes.
Well, also his army of folks does a really big event on Christmas Day. They feed the homeless down at the senior center, and we have engaged to help them collect money for food, let's see, we've got shoes on this angel, they need sleeping bags, they need coats, they need clean new underwear. New, not clean. New underwear and socks. No, just clean. In a package, please. That they distribute to the homeless on the day that they serve them. So when you leave the office and you pass by our angel tree, please take one and get the items back to us as soon as possible. We would be very grateful for that. Also, we have a sorting party on the 22nd. And we have two. Okay.
There's a sorting party going on the 15th, which is Sunday. This week coming up, 768 Murphy Avenue, and we'll pretty much put that out. So I know we don't commit a lot of stuff to memory, but we'll put that out so you can have that downtown Atlanta this week, Sunday coming up. And we have another one the 22nd. So what that is we'll sort through what we have and what we get this week, and next week to find out what we're missing before the event on the 25th to know.
Let me elaborate. Let me elaborate for those of you who don't know what a sorting party is. Obviously, we sort clothes, but it's more about fellowship. So we have food, drinks, music, as in the spirit of the season. But it's also coming together to kind of sort through the clothes of the donations that we get as well too. A lot of times people see the end result, which is we go and we serve the homeless and we feed them food, but we oftentimes don't see what goes into that, the before work, like the sorting of the clothes and the making sure that we have enough items and donations and things, and that also separate the bad things that we get to. We get plenty of duds. So.
Use underwear.
Saying how holy some folks are. Around that time of year. One thing we do want to get this year, and we thank you guys for last year. I think Keller Williams showed up and showed out. So we want to say thank you for that. I don't know if we had a follow-up to do that. The second part is a lot of times the men change their stuff over a lot quicker than us. So we're limited in men's stuff. So if you guys can reach out to your buddies, some lightly used shoes, items like that, we're lacking. I know we have been lacking. So those things is highly needed. Men jacket, raincoats. So I just wanted to kind of touch on the men a little bit to let us know that we need to come together a little bit stronger this year to get some more men's stuff donated for the men, because unfortunately there is a lot more men that shows up and that are homeless or that's on the streets than females, but we do get an influx of female stuff and not men items. All right. So Lyft, as you know, Lyft, to go into that, was pretty much an organic, grassroots kind of nonprofit organization. We started out with our kids, stopping every year and just giving them gifts and saying, what are we doing? After we opened, after we ate breakfast, it was like, let's watch a movie. And we started just taking our kids downtown Atlanta. And the outpour of people that came, we was outran with stuff that we needed to give them. So it became bigger and bigger every year. We showed up at the same parking lot and just have them handed directly to the folks that was in need. It wasn't going through an organization that you wouldn't see where your gifts was going. Years passed, or 2 years passed, Sean said, let's organize it, get it to a 501c so we can start getting donations, so on and so forth, and give people a tax write-off because we know that was important. With that said, it went into 2014 when we officially launched as a 501c nonprofit organization, and then we just been rolling ever since. After that, we're doing, like I said, these things where we're directly affecting a community. So if you wanted to be a part of your kids, or you know of somebody that had a child that is not so much appreciative or grateful, this is a great event. I think Stacy came out with us and see, like, we're riding on the bus with them, picking them up from not just a shelter, but from under a bridge.
Yeah, the underpasses.
Yeah.
So is that on Christmas Day?
That's on Christmas morning. It's on Christmas morning. So the good news is we get in. Yes. We get in early, about 8 o'clock in the morning, and get out by 12, 1 o'clock, so we leave your day to you. We try to take the early part of the morning to get it done. And we have a sign-up sheet, which I'll get over the information again, because I don't want you guys to commit this stuff to memory and then forget about it. But we'll pretty much have a sign-up sheet to where you can sign up for a time slot. So if you want to be there at a certain time and get in and out of Dodge, do your services, that's also what we'll do this year. So make it a lot more effective and efficient.
Let me also add that we do a lot of feeding initiatives, we do clothing initiatives, but another important piece that we do is educational workshops. So there's a lot of resources out there for the homeless, and what we try to do is put those resources together in the same room, and we invite, or we'll do it at a shelter, and we have them, we'll have the resources come down and explain whatever resource it might be. It might be housing, it might be work, food, how to get access to food, all those things. So we don't only do this, we try to feed them mentally as well too. Not only physically, but we try to feed them mentally as well. So that's another thing that we do as well.
So y'all know me, and I wanted to bring some of the founding members to come in so they can tell their story, because mine may get boring at times. However, also on the flyer, the website, there's a misprint, so I apologize for that. Jason, will you?
It's liftorg.com, not lift.
It's in the pamphlet though,
.org.
and I'm sorry. It's also in the pamphlet, and it's correct in the brochure. So it's correct in the brochure.
Oh, okay.
It's wrong on the flyer, correct on the brochure.
What I was going to
Your time's up, Rashad.
No, that's my daily word coming from the Bible. So what I wanted to say to keep going was, I know some of you mentioned, I think you guys didn't know about the Thanksgiving. I know Cindy hit me up on social media when she seen the pictures that we post. So we actually have 4 big initiatives every year, and I'll let Sean and Jason kind of talk about that. However, we are also looking for more volunteers, and we're actually looking for board members as well. So we're actively seeking more board members. As you guys see, as you got ladies and gentlemen see, as men, we sometimes don't pay attention to all the details, so we definitely need more board members to catch those errors that we just made. So just if you interested in giving back and wanting to be a part of something that's grassroots and it's not where things go all the way up the chain and you may not see it come down, what comes in goes right out. We would love to have a conversation with you and talk about that. And I'll let Sean just talk about Jason. Talk real fast.
I have a question. So is there a way that we can give financially online, like Cash App, PayPal, or anything like that, if we can't be there Christmas?
Yeah, you can.
What is it? Cash App? What is it?
We got Cash App, we got PayPal.
Is it on the website?
GoFundMe?
And you can also donate on the website too. It's easy on the
That's
website.
what I just wanted to know, how to get you my money.
It's very easy to do it
I'll
on
be
the
seeing
website.
you guys if you want to just give me the cash.
Yeah, right. I'll never see
So
you.
with that said, it's for monetary donations, it's liftorg.com, and it'll give you a donate button on there to where you can donate. And after you do that, you can pretty much send in an email and we'll send you your receipt for your donations.
Remember, $25 feeds 2 people on Christmas Day.
Yes.
So, yeah. And
So-
you feed how many?
150 to 200.
Right.
I'll see y'all on Christmas. I'm excited.
I'm gonna bring
So-
my Karate Kids.
So please.
One of the things that the biggest, hottest request that we get from the homeless are martyr cards.
Oh, yeah.
So this year we plan to at least maybe get 50 martyr cards so we can hand out to them, and martyr cards so that they can have transportation to get back and forth to wherever they're going. And consider that day. That day is Christmas. They might have some family members somewhere that they might be trying to get to. We don't know. So if we can help them out that day with some transportation, getting to and from somewhere, that'll probably be a blessing to them. So that's what we want to try to raise some funds for, so we can get at least 50 martyr cards with at least 2 rides. At least 2 rides. Back and forth twice.
Yes.
Martyr cards around the angel tree.
So we would love to be able to get. That's the hottest item that we get, every single year when we do this. They ask, do you guys give martyr cards? And unfortunately, we've had to tell them no in the past, but we would like to tell them yes this year.
That's right.
All right, Eddie.
You got a question?
For the martyr cards, do you want us to buy them and bring them here, or just donate online and you'll buy them?
If you could donate, so basically we could get it, and get them in bulk. So we're trying to get 50. So if you could donate, we'll use the monies to.
But if you take an angel, as Jake did, and bought martyr cards, thank you. We're collecting all of our angel tree donations in the office, the second office on the left, coming in on the atrium side. The door's open, you'll see boxes, and so you can bring them in.
And we will be
We'll get 'em there.
and we will be collecting up until
The 25th, I
the
mean, really.
24th, yeah.
Well, let's say the 22nd to be fair, because we got to get the clothes there the day before.
Rashad, are you gonna have a receptacle or something in the office here where we can make
We
donations?
have a wrapped, yes, we already have two
Second
wrapped
office on the left.
boxes.
Second
One in the
office.
atrium
Clothing and all that.
Yeah.
And also my office is right here, 90 Anton Partners Group, right next to Cynthia Fisher's office. If you want to help, I leave the door open. I have a box in there. Drop anything else.
What about food?
We're making it easy.
Yes.
We're making it easy.
Food?
Obviously.
Yeah, you can bring canned goods. Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Don't forget to clean up that apple tree today.
Hold on. Yeah, I do got some T-shirts I'd like to give away.
Ooh, I want one.
So, is what I just asked Rashad too, just so you know, once again, it's in line with these deductions, but these are tax deductible donations, so they can give you paperwork for, so you can use that on your tax return. So it's legit and it's for a good cause, so clean out your closet for those gently used items.
So, and also, one last thing, I know there were a couple people this morning that said, hey, this is going to be my last time in the office for 2019. It's been a great 2019, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So, for those people that may not make it back to the office by the end of the year, we can collect checks or whatever today as well. And then as Sean and Jason said, you can also go to the website and donate as well. And make sure, however you donate or however you write your check out, it's documented so we can give you a receipt for, as Bill said, the tax deductions. Thank you so much.
Post with this that we could share.
I will, yes. We're gonna take pictures in front of the angel tree and we'll get that out to social media soon.
Yeah.
So if you follow me, if I haven't friended you, get on me today. I'll make sure we're friends, and then you'll see me posted out there. And we'll love your support. And also, for all of the other initiatives in 2020, we'll be rolling that out probably like January, February of 2019. And so we love you. Thank you guys for everything that you do. I love you. And
You had a question?
I just want to know what time the sorting party was this Sunday.
3 to 6.
Maybe I'll bring. And do you have to sign up online for that as
You
well?
can, but no, you can show up for that one. That one,
Show up?
you can show up for that one there. We need all volunteers on hand. Yes, we definitely could use your help. So we'll get the address over, or we'll leave the address with Rashad so you know how to find it.
Kids are a yes on Christmas.
Yes.
To bring them to help out.
Absolutely.
Also, y'all don't even know. I've literally been trying to do this.
I got a real easy question. The first person that can tell me what lift means gets a T-shirt. That's an easy
Over
one.
your flyer.
That's an easy one.
You see the back of it.
That's an easy one.
Oh, lead initiatives for the less fortunate together.
Okay. What size do you wear?
Quite large.
The second question is, what year did we get our 501c3?
Said that.
2014.
Thank you.
2014.
What size is it?
The last question is, when is our next initiative?
May I have a shirt now?
Will you be there?
Oh, when is our next initiative? When is our next
This
initiative?
Sunday. This Sunday. There you go.
What size is that?
Are you gonna be there?
Do it over there. He's got it.
Thank you. You're such a gentleman.
All right, thank you guys for having me.
Thank you guys. Great. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Culture Committee, too.
All right. We're all in a party mood. Does anybody have a listing they need?